Hi, everyone, and fellow Toolboxers. Welcome to episode number 347 of the Immigration Lawyer's Toolbox. We're having another fun interview with Gunda Brost, the attorney I've met through a listserv years ago when I first became immigration lawyer. She and I would both ask a lot of questions. I'm talking with her about this yet, but I'll remind her. But we'd ask questions on the AILA listserv all the time. And, 10, 15 years go by, and then we're having a podcast. So it's really awesome how things work out. We're going to talk about her practice in the Iowa Nebraska conference that's popping up. This is coming up in pretty soon, actually, in a month or two. So I wanted to get that out there so colleagues in the area know, and everyone else knows that they want to know who the people are. Because one thing that's interesting that pops up at these conferences, they bring local USCIS officials in this that are from the local field office. It's a great way to know who they are from reading the registration or seeing on the meeting or who's hosting this stuff because they'll know the people. So if you have a case in some random USCIS district, you're like, who could I ask that could get this document to the field office because they're not listening to me. So all these relationships, for me, it's really helpful because I get to know the people one-on-one. But listening to podcasts, you get familiar with them, you can reach out to them and try to get more data to help speed up your case, do that high-end level of lawyering. Before we start, I want to thank our sponsor, Serenade, e-immigration by Serenade, all-in-one form software, office management, our sales leads, everything. They do so many things, and AI is coming. They're really attacking the AI aspect of it, updating really fast and really well. They really care about their customers. So Serenade with the C.com, serenade.com. If you want to reach out to them, their sales team, you can do a practice session on your own where you can see what's going on. I recommend doing with somebody because sometimes when I get the access to the software to test out myself, I don't know what's going on, so it just doesn't feel as good. But if you get someone to hold your hand, kind of is really good, and that's definitely something I would do. Again, that's Serenade with the C, serenade.com. Having said that, one more thing is I have a white labeled version of our checklist for marriage green card cases, bona fide checklist, so what kind of relationship documents they are. I just took our logo out. It's a Word document. You can add your own firm logo and stuff and get it to clients to just streamline things. That's free for our members. Any lawyer could get it. Just email me with your bar info and let me know how you learn about this too, so I get an idea of who's listening, who's on the website, whatever's going on. But I'll add you to our community page, Circle ISO, which has got other stuff too, a white labeled medical checkup list we give to clients. We also have a bunch of CLEs about how to do a 212D waiver. The best person, Daniel Parisi, has an hour-long go detail how to do the waiver, how to deal with clients who've been absent for 13 years from the U.S. with the green card. What do you do about that? So all that's there. I really recommend joining. Just email me info@immigrationlawyerstoolbox.com. And having said that, all the info here is not intended as individual legal guidance. Consult with an attorney, but you all know that. Let's get it started. Hi, Gunda. Thank you so much for coming on the show.
Hi, my pleasure. Thank you for having me.
I appreciate it. So let's jump into that. How did you get involved with immigration law? I remember we kind of probably started around the same time, if I recall. What made you become an immigration attorney?
So, I was teaching ESL in Omaha to speakers of other languages, and I had always wanted to, since college, actually before college, I had an interest in international issues, and I found that I kind of clicked, with international people. And I had been involved in like Model UN and those kind of things in college and been very close to the international students and kind of clicked with them. So when I was teaching ESL in Omaha, I had a man who came up and he had an accident with his hand in the meat company that he was working for. And apparently he had cut off most of his feet, like four of his fingers, I think. And so he said, "What should I do about that?" And he asked me because I'm the teacher, and I could not give any good answer because I wasn't a lawyer. So I said, "I really don't know what to tell you about that." But that experience, he said, "My boss is going to fire me. They're going to put me into, he's threatened to deport me if I say anything and complain. I don't have money for a doctor." And I was just totally, I don't know what to tell you. And of course today as an immigration attorney I would know what to tell him, but that was like one of those moments in life where you are totally, it's a defining moment in your life. And for me that was one of the things that got me thinking, wow, immigrants in this country, if they don't have legal status, they're not protected. They What do you tell them? How do you help them? So that galvanized me into thinking beyond the teaching profession.
So then you have to, and it's a big thing to then jump to law school. It's a lot of work to do. So you attended law school here in the U.S.?
Yes, I did at Hamline University in in the Twin Cities, and it was a weekend only program at the time. And so I had to work full time, and then I'd drive up, the 3 hours to the Twin Cities from Iowa,
Oh wow.
and yeah, and then attend law school. It was like Saturday from 8 in the morning until 4, and then Sunday from 8 in the morning until 4, and then I
Oh
drove
man.
back. Yeah, it was
That's a
insane.
tough, yeah, wow.
That was before they had all the online classes and all that stuff. So I'm probably
You really
aging
had to
myself.
work for it back then. Yeah. And which bar did you end up taking? Was it
Yeah,
Minnesota or
no, the Iowa one because my family lived here, so I knew I was going to stay here. Yeah. So.
wonderful? And then once you started your practice, did you what kind of cases? I mean, what kind of case do you handle now? Do you have a particular niche or the case type that you like to do?
Yeah, so we do everything, kind of everything, garden variety, everything. Not so much employment because that's very complicated, and so it's very labor intensive to do both. I think so. Mostly family. Um,
Mm-hmm.
I think I have a kind of a knack for waivers and an interest in waivers. Like I-601As, that kind of thing.
Mm-hmm.
Um, Asylum, we've done a lot of asylum, both affirmative and defensive. The denial rate in Omaha immigration court is 97% right now, so that's not very encouraging at all. Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. But I have a specific interest, I guess, in waivers and humanitarian, assistance. And then I also like those cases that are kind of stuck, and to try to get them moving again. It's like a personal challenge. Yeah.
I hear you. And how what kind of staffing or and support staff do you have at your firm?
So currently, I have three assistants. I have one person who mainly she answers the phone and files, and then the other two are like legal assistants. They help with client contact, documentation of everything, and filling the forms, making sure like putting everything together, cover letters, that kind of thing. So yeah. Mhm.
So again, like well, I remember seeing your name because when I started practicing myself on the AILA new member division list, I asked a lot of questions, and then I remember you were answering questions, you're asking questions and stuff. So I always remembered your name from there. I think
Oh
at the
yeah.
AILA conference we saw each other a couple of times as well. How does practice look? 10 plus years into it, as to like what you thought it was or how different it is, and how things changed for you. That's I know you probably haven't been thinking about that question. Might take a bit to answer, but how different is
No.
it now?
Um, we've grown a lot. I think I have like kind of a reputation in the community. I hope it's a good one, but I think it is because, like, especially with the Somalians and Sudanese that are and in Iowa, you have to imagine, I'm like a small fish in a small pond kind of thing. So people don't mind traveling sometimes even 2 hours to see what they've heard as an attorney that they can trust. So I've had people in the next biggest city is called Iowa City. It's like about an hour and a half from Cedar Falls, where I am. And
Mhm.
I mean, I have people from the Sudanese and Somali community in particular who come to see me for asylum cases. So I guess the question how I've grown, that's something that 10 years ago was not the case. The demographics kind of change. In Iowa, in particular, we had a very strong Congolese community that's growing. It depends kind of, on the refugee resettlement that some of them are resettled in Iowa. And so that defines the immigrant community that we have, and that defines where my practice is at too.
Yeah.
So there's Congolese, there's a lot of Burmese, and now a lot of people from Sudan and Somalia. And so 10 years ago, I think it would have been more like Latino, so in that respect. And I think we've all grown, right? But I look at
Yeah.
you, John, and I'm like, wow, he's like famous. And yeah, you've done so much. So kudos to you, wonderful.
I appreciate it. It's such a wonderful field where you just get involved and get to know each other. So it's you said a small fish in a small pond. Same here. Like immigration lawyer is a small world. So within the small world of like a couple of thousand, maybe 10, 15,000 people, I've made a name for myself. It's still very like small, but it's really nice when you could like really hardcore target a group. I mean, so prepared. How is the bar? How many like immigration lawyers are around you? Do you think?
We've grown like intensely, for lack of a better word. I'm currently the chair of the Iowa Nebraska AILA attorneys. And since I started 10 years ago, I mean, when I was in law school, and I don't want to date myself, so you can kind of guess, but there was a handful of attorneys, in these two states. And now, I mean, our list of members is like maybe 3 pages. So, I
Oh
mean,
wow.
yeah, so we've really grown. There's a lot of new young attorneys that either moved to the states or went to law school here and stay here. And I think also because what's in the media, there's a renowned interest in immigration law, and
Hmm.
so people, and then also our population, I think, is diversifying anyway, with more people speaking, like grown up in Spanish speaking families, for instance, and then that's kind of for a lot of them if they're interested in law that's a natural fit, if you're already Spanish speaking
Yeah.
and you have an interest in law. And so, oh, yeah, immigration law works. So,
No, that kind of transitions well into the conference you're hosting, I Nebraska conference. When and where is it?
yeah, so that's going to be at the end of next week on Friday, October 13th in Omaha, Nebraska. So that's the biggest city in Omaha, not the capital, but the biggest city, and at the Farnham Hotel. And it will be from 9 in the morning until 4 p.m. And then we'll have a nice happy hour. And yeah, so we have some really good speakers that were put together. So let's see, we have Brian Blackford and Rachel Yamamoto, who are like local gurus, so to speak, and right, like then Ann Dutton from the Center of Immigration, Gender, and Refugee Studies in San Francisco. We have Ryan Sefkich and Dan Oldenburg, who are local employment immigration law experts. And then we have our very own Ben Johnson, the AILA Executive Director from Washington, D.C., who will come. And you'll be on a panel with David Kaye Smith and also Kevin Gregg, who I believe you interviewed.
Yeah.
Yeah, and then we end our day with a ethics and wellness panel with Sonia Paras, who is also, I know she's spoken at AILA many times. She's kind of a very well-known
Hmm.
person for U visa petitions, and then Joy Ziegeweit and Carlos Canales, who is a licensed clinical psychologist. So.
Very cool. So, I mean, I'm sure, I'm assuming you have help, but how hard has it been organizing something and having to practice at the same time?
How hard has it been? Is that the question?
Yeah.
Oh
Yeah.
my God. I don't know if you've ever been chapter chair or anything,
I've
but I
avoided it because I know how much work it is.
I had no idea. My predecessor Ryan, he made it look so like a breeze. We'd have these meetings, and 10 minutes later we'd be done, and I'm like, that can't be too bad. So, oh my goodness, it's a lot of work. Making sure everybody comes and knows what they're presenting, and like all the little details with the hotel. And oh my, if
Yeah,
I'd
just
known, I would
organizing. I did a seminar once and just a hotel and food and like with the
have.
recording and all this kind of stuff. I was like, oh my God, like this is, you need to have a person that just does this. That's like their full time job for these things.
Yes, yes. And so at the AILA National, they said, at the Board of Governors meetings, they were like, you have to delegate if you're the chapter chair. And that was one thing I took to heart. Like, I totally agree with that. Yeah. So I'm like, so and so, can you do the technology? Because I'm horrible with technology. I'm
Hmm.
I'm surprised, John, that I'm on here with you and I figured that out. So.
Made it work. Well, thanks so much for coming on the show. What is the next? I mean, the holiday season is coming up right now. You're gonna do the conference, but how does next 6 to 9 months a year look? Do you have any big changes coming up for your firm, or any like direction you want to go towards, or is it kind of just putting out all these fires that constantly popping up?
So as the current chair of Iowa, Nebraska, I will have to go, or I'm encouraged to go and attend, the Board of Governor meetings. There'll be one in Mexico in January. So, I already have my ticket and everything. It's in Puerto Vallarta.
Nice.
I mean, I've never been, but that sounds amazing. And then I will attend the national and the NDA in Washington, D.C., the National Day of Action. I've done that
Hmm.
before. Uh, yeah, so those are some events that are coming up. We are in the process of organizing maybe holiday parties for Christmas or like the December season. But since COVID, it's been a challenge to get people to come. I don't know how that is for you.
Yes,
You
I,
know,
I I pretty much don't leave the house. I love going to meetings, but a lot of it has to do with traffic in Los Angeles just to get around. So I don't bother. I'm trying to get back into it. But I mean, where you're from, the distances too, because they're spread out. It's two-state chapter. It's so important to kind of just see each other in person and to talk and share information and just kind of chill and relax. So it's so important for these events that the local chapter established, not just the annual conference that you guys do, like the regional conference, but like the holiday parties are one of the funnest things to do.
100%. And for me, I like the in person, like you were saying. Um, I'm I would consider myself an introvert, but I enjoy being around people. And the one thing, having been the chapter chair so far, I really feel like now my membership with AILA has been rewarded
Mhm.
because just seeing all these, eh, eh, like I met Ira Korsben in person, and um, just seeing these people who are uh, at the at the summit of their careers,
Mhm.
and very influential in immigration law, and meeting them in person, that's or just meeting other people in my situation, that's been immensely rewarding. So
Yeah, it's such a great practice field. Guna, thanks again for coming on the show.
yeah.
If people want to reach out to you, what's the best way to? Is there a website, a social media account, email that you prefer?
So I'm on Facebook, Brost Law Office. We do have a website. It's with WordPress. I like to have emails. So like Brost Law, one word, BROSTLAW at outlook.com works. And yeah, so I'm on my email all the time. So that would might be the fastest. And if you hear running around here, that's my cat. I'm sorry.
No, not in here. It's okay. These mics are pretty. I always worry because I got kids screwing in the background and that, but the mics are pretty good at just anything that's around it and not going too far, so it's not too bad. We're gonna stay on the line for a bit, but thanks again for coming on the show. I'm gonna end it, but like stay on the line. I'll talk a little bit afterwards. Hope everyone enjoyed
Okay.
this one. I did for sure, and I'm glad we got to talk again. I think the last time we talked 2 or 3 years ago at a conference, we ran into each other. I think it might have been in Florida or something like that.
Yeah, yeah, I think I run into you in every conference somehow, but yeah, it's nice to talk to you a little more in depth here.
For
So,
sure.
yeah,
Thank you so much.
thank you for having me.
Well, that was fun. I always enjoy talking to colleagues that I haven't got a chance to really talk in more detail with. And that's one of the pleasures of doing this podcast. And I really recommend if you can make your own podcast or find some way to connect with colleagues in the field. It's one of the most pleasurable and funnest parts of being immigration lawyers talking with each other. If you all probably know, if you go to the Christmas parties or you go to AILA National, for example, you see each other. It's really a blast for some weird reason to talk with other immigration lawyers. Having said that, if you want to see more immigration lawyers, join our course, the Marriage Immigration Law course, where we help you learn adjustment of status based on statute and practical stuff, consular processing, basics in admissibility to kind of catch stuff during the consultation to avoid problems, all that kind of stuff. Email me at info@immigrationlawyerstoolbox.com. And if you want to just join our membership, you're a lawyer, our circle.so community page, where we share a lot of free content, CLEs, documents, all that kind of stuff. You have a discussion Q&A section as well. Just email me again, info@immigrationlawyerstoolbox.com. We'll add you. I'll need your bar information because we only add lawyers there. But we're really promoting. And one thing I'm going to start putting out, we're putting out another magazine. So if you have an idea for an article that's good, send it to me and we'll get you published and we'll promote you for your personal development. So you'll go on the podcast probably. You'll use online searches for like that kind of case study. You'll come up so you get clients out of it. You'll get notoriety in the field. Do everything we can to promote you and become a better immigration attorney, a better version of who you are. Having said that, thanks so much and look forward to the next podcast. Bye bye.